Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Lincoln wheat. Penny coins value in today's market. First up, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark. This coin, in good condition with an intriguing color shade, is definitely one for collectors. Stick with me as we uncover its history, features, and most importantly, its value in today's market. Let's start by taking a close look at the coin itself. The 1953 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the famous wheat cent series minted from 1909 to 1958. This coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll see the familiar wheat stalks, which give the coin its nickname, wheat penny. What makes this specific coin particularly interesting is that it's a 1953 penny with no mint mark, indicating it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. While the mint mark was added to coins produced in other mints, Philadelphia coins didn't feature a mint mark until much later. So this penny is typical of those struck at the Philadelphia Mint during that era. Before we talk about value, let's take a quick look at the historical backdrop. The year 1953 was a post-World War II era, with the U.S. economy entering a period of growth and prosperity. People were carrying pennies like these in their pockets every day, unaware that decades later, collectors would be scouring for these very coins. The 1953 penny was part of the larger effort to produce affordable circulating currency for the booming American economy. While 1953 wasn't a year of massive economic turmoil like the 1930s, the coin itself is a reminder of a simpler time in American history. As with all coins from this period, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny is a reminder of the rich legacy of U.S. currency. Now let's talk about what makes this particular penny stand out. Its condition. The coin we're focusing on today is in good condition, which means it's seen some wear over the years, but still retains a lot of its defining features. On a good condition coin like this one, you'll see the details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. Though they may be slightly worn down from circulation, coins in good condition usually show some light wear and tear, especially on high points like Lincoln's forehead and the tips of the wheat stalks. However, the overall design remains clear and recognizable. For collectors, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value, and a coin in good condition still has significant appeal. An interesting detail about this particular 1953 penny is its color shade. Over the years, some pennies develop unique color variations due to environmental factors like oxidation or exposure to different elements. A coin like this one with a subtle color shade, whether it's a slightly darker patina or a unique tone, can make it even more visually striking and desirable to certain collectors. Okay, so the big question: how much is a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny worth today in good condition? Well, in today's market, you can typically expect to pay around $1,000 for a 1953 penny in good condition. While this may not be one of the highest value pennies out there, it's still a great find for collectors who focus on coins from the 1950s. The value of this penny is relatively modest compared to rarer dates, but there are still factors that could increase its value. If the coin has any unique errors, or if the color shade is particularly striking, it could fetch a higher price at auction. But as of now, this coin's value remains within the range of a few dollars. It's worth noting that if the coin were in higher grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, the price would increase significantly. So if you happen to find one of these in great condition, you're in luck. Now, if you're looking to add this coin to your collection, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, always purchase coins from reputable dealers, whether online or in person. Inspect the coin closely for condition, color shade, and any potential errors, as these could influence its value. When evaluating coins like the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, remember that coins with vibrant, distinctive color tones tend to attract more interest from collectors. However, make sure to handle the coins carefully and store them properly to prevent any further wear or damage. Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent, struck without a mint mark, in extra fine condition. This penny has a lot to offer, from its historical context to its value in today's market. Let's dive in. Let's take a closer look at the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny. As part of the famed Wheat Cent series, this coin features the beloved image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic wheat stalks, which is why we call these wheat pennies. What makes this 1937 penny particularly interesting is that it was struck without mint mark. This means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, as coins from this mint typically did not carry a mint mark until much later. In 1937, pennies produced at other mints like Denver or San Francisco would have had their respective mint marks, but this one simply doesn't indicating it came from Philadelphia. Now, let's take a step back in time and explore the historical significance of this coin. The 1930s were a transformative decade for the United States. The Great Depression had impacted the economy in the early part of the decade, but by 1937, the nation was beginning to recover. The country's economy was on the upswing, and this penny was part of that journey. During this time, pennies like the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny were a common sight in everyday life. People were using these coins for basic purchases, never imagining that decades later, collectors would be eagerly searching for coins like these, especially those in high-quality condition. Now let's talk about the most important factor in determining a coin's value: the condition. The coin we're focusing on today is in extra fine condition, which is a significant step up from just good or fine. An extra fine coin still retains most of its original detail, with only minor signs of wear, usually on the highest points of the design. In the case of this 1937 penny, you'll see that Abraham Lincoln's portrait is sharp and well-defined, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are crisp. Extra fine coins are highly sought after because they have retained their beauty and character while showing only slight wear. In fact, the fine details on this 1937 penny are still visible and easy to appreciate, making it an attractive coin for collectors looking for quality. All right, now let's get to the exciting part. How much is this 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today? In extra fine condition, the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny typically sells for around $800 in today's market. While this isn't one of the most expensive pennies out there, its excellent condition makes it a desirable piece for collectors. Its value lies not only in the historical significance of the year, but also in the fact that it's one of the more well-preserved examples you'll find from the late 1930s coins in extra fine condition, particularly from this era, hold a special place in the market. While this particular penny may not reach the higher price ranges like some rarer dates, it is still a fantastic coin to own. Additionally, any unique color variations or toning could make it even more valuable to the right buyer. If you're looking to add a 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny in extra fine condition to your collection, there are a few tips I'd like to share. First, always buy from a reputable source, whether it's an online dealer or a local coin shop. When evaluating a coin like this, closely inspect the details on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks to ensure it truly qualifies as extra fine. Next up, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, featuring a large date and no mint mark. This coin may not be one of the highest-priced pennies out there, but it certainly has its place in the hearts of collectors. Let's break it down and see what makes it so special and valuable in today's market. Let's start by taking a look at the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This coin is part of the iconic Wheat Cent series, which was produced from 1909 until 1958. On the obverse, you'll see the image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner, while on the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks symbolize America's agricultural heritage. What sets this particular penny apart is that it features a large date on the obverse. The large date refers to the size of the numbers in the year 1950. Some coins from this year were struck with a small date, but the large date version stands out as the more common type. The lack of a mint mark on this coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as coins produced there during this time didn't feature a mint mark. Let's take a moment to talk about the year 1950 and the historical context behind this coin. The early 1950s were a period of post-World War II prosperity in the United States. The economy was recovering, and people were spending more, which meant more pennies were in circulation. These pennies, like the 1950 Lincoln Wheat, were everyday currency used by millions of Americans in daily transactions. During this period, the United States was also moving away from the effects of the Great Depression and into an era of growth and consumerism. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny is a piece of that history, used by everyday people and now cherished by collectors. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny we're discussing today is in good condition, which means it shows signs of wear and use but still retains some of its key features. On this particular coin, the details of Lincoln's portrait are still fairly visible, although there's some smoothing around the high points, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are discernible, though not as sharp as they would be on a higher-grade coin. In good condition, you'll notice some wear on the edges of Lincoln's hair and along the wheat stalks, but the coin still has its character. These signs of wear don't detract from the coin's value as much as you might think, and in fact, the good condition grade makes it accessible for collectors who are building a more affordable collection. So, let's talk about the big question. What is this 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny worth today? In good condition, you can typically expect it to be valued between $700. While this isn't one of the highest value pennies in the Lincoln Wheat series, it's still a great coin to own, especially if you're interested in coins from the 1950s. It's worth noting that the 1950 large date penny is relatively common, so the price remains in this lower range for most coins in good condition. However, if you happen to find this coin in a higher grade like very fine or extra fine, the value can go up significantly. But for the most part, you'll be looking at the $900 range for a 1950 penny in good condition. If you're interested in adding this coin to your collection, here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, when purchasing coins like the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, make sure to buy from a trusted source, whether it's an online dealer or a local coin shop. Always examine the coin carefully for its condition, especially focusing on key areas like Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. Coins in better condition will fetch higher prices, so make sure to look for well-defined details. Also, don't forget to check for any unique toning or color variations, as these can add to the coin's appeal for collectors. Next up, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny with the large date and D mint mark. This particular penny is in very fine condition, and trust me, it has a lot to offer. We'll explore its historical significance, its unique features, and most importantly, its value in today's market. Let's get started. Let's take a close-up look at the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny. This coin features the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, created by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse you'll find the iconic wheat stalks that gave these pennies their name. What sets this penny apart is the large date and the presence of a D mint mark, indicating that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1958, the U.S. Mint produced two types of pennies, the small date and the large date. The large date version, which we have here, features larger numerals for the year 1958. The mint mark on this penny, the D, tells us it was made in Denver, and that mint mark is located just to the right of Lincoln's portrait. Let's rewind a little and talk about the historical context of this coin. By 1958, the Lincoln Wheat Cent series had been in circulation for nearly 5 decades. This particular year marks the very last of the Lincoln Wheat pennies, as in 1959, the U.S. Mint introduced the Lincoln Memorial Cent. So, this 1958 penny represents the end of an era for U.S. coinage. 1958 was a year of change in the U.S. The country was in the midst of the post-World War II boom, and the economy was thriving. This penny would have been one of many circulating during that time used by Americans for daily purchases, from groceries to gas. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. This 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny is in very fine condition. What does that mean exactly? In very fine condition, you'll notice that the coin retains most of its details, but the wear from circulation has softened some of the finer features. On the obverse, Lincoln's face still shows clear detail, but you'll see some light wear, especially on the high points of his hair and beard. The reverse, with the wheat stalks, also remains legible, though some of the finer details may have softened slightly. In very fine condition, this penny is still a solid example of a well-preserved coin. The details are strong enough that it stands out from lower-graded examples, and it's a desirable grade for collectors looking for something with a bit more life in it. Though it's not one of the rarest pennies out there, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny with the large date and D mint mark is still valued for its condition and its place in the history of U.S. coinage. It's a great coin for collectors who focus on the later years of the wheat cent series. If you find this coin in an even higher grade, such as extra fine or mint state, the value can climb considerably. But for a very fine example, you're looking at the $2,000 range. It's also worth mentioning that if you find one of these pennies with unique toning or any errors, the price could go up even more. If you're looking to add a 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny in very fine condition to your collection, here are a couple of tips. First, always ensure you're buying from a reputable dealer, whether it's online or in person. Be sure to ask for documentation of authenticity if you're purchasing a high-value coin. When evaluating the coin, look closely at Lincoln's portrait. Even in very fine condition, the key features should be clearly visible. The wheat stalk should be legible as well, but you may see some light wear, which is expected in this grade. So there you have it, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny, with the large date and D mint mark, in very fine condition. While this coin may not be a high-dollar rarity, it's certainly a great piece for any collection, especially for those focusing on the last years of the Lincoln Wheat cent series. Thanks so much for tuning in to Valuable Coins. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us about your experiences with Lincoln Wheat pennies. Have you ever come across a 1958 penny in your collection? We'd love to hear about it.